I've been in the neighborhood about 8 years. I'm a realtor, and we've all been kind of feeling the need to have a neighborhood association, so here we are. And I do have, I put some printouts back here because our our neighborhood kind of got split into the 3 wards, and some people were kind of unclear as to exactly who their alderperson was. So if you look at that, you'll be able to tell. And then I just had a few highlights from the last 2 years. Building permits for Carondelet, we had 113 residential, $3.5 million. This was up by almost $2 million from the previous 2 years. That's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. And commercial, we had 32 at 5.5 million, industrial 124 at 2.7 million. So, I mean, like, the neighborhood is really coming up. So I don't want anybody to like get disappointed or just focus on the bad. Like, there's a really lot of good stuff going on. And you can see the river from Bell Reef Park.
Yes.
A couple of new businesses we have, if you haven't tried them out, we have Danya Gloria. She's over on Grand and Walsh, I think it is, right there across from is it Walsh? Right?
It is.
Yeah. Right across from the Domino's.
They just got their liquor license.
Did they get it? Yes, they did. They were going for it yesterday. And then we have the Speakeasy Cafe. Probably most of you have been there. It's terrific. And our problem property at the old 7-Eleven building has a new business in it. And they serve some pretty darn good takeout if you like fried food. I do. Whiteboard, we do have an email address. So if you have a problem property, my handwriting is shit, so, you know, it's carondeletneighborhood@gmail.com. And so kind of our idea, if you have a problem property that you have sent in a CSB report to, if you want to email us like with the date, the report number, and the address, we'll try to keep track of all that. We're going to, hopefully some people will like raise their hand and want to help us set up a spreadsheet and stuff like that. Because we're hoping that will help the police and the problem property people take better action if they have a more concise, like we had 15 calls on this property. So that's a hope. We'll see. Yeah, so if anybody's an Excel monster, give us a call. I think that's about it, and then I'm turning it over to Ivy.
Hi, I'm Ivy March. I'm the acting vice president. And kind of a little overview of our history. I think after some community meetings that we had here last summer, and noticing that we had a really great turnout for that. Several of us, including Jessica and Kyla and myself, we were recognizing that we were on different opposing positions on this topic about some new development happening in the neighborhood. But we were able to connect with each other and recognize that there was, even though we were had different opinions on this, there was a clear need for resident voice within Carondelet. So we started collaborating to start Carondelet Neighborhood Association. And one of the projects that we want to work on is, like Kylie was saying, the identifying problem properties. Specifically, I know we all noticed the high rate of vacancies. We have a lot of like out of town, out of state landlords, and so we've set up as a first step, it's a Google form. If you want to be a block captain for your block, you can find the link over on the table. And that's just to say, I'm going to be responsible for this area. I'm going to notice what's vacant and start reporting regularly on these issue properties.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the block captains get to do fun stuff too.
Yes.
Okay, because we're going to do like happy hours and maybe historical tours and other stuff. So the block captains, because you'll know your area better than I know your block. If you have ideas on things like that, or you'd like to host a little get together, we can always get streets blocked off and have parties.
And I am Jessica Solomon. I met Ivy through coordination of those events, and Kyla was my neighbor. She's still my neighbor, but not next door neighbor anymore. So we wanted to take a different approach to a neighborhood association. We didn't want it to be you know, kind of stuffy and politically driven and things like that. We really want to focus on community. The one thing that all three of us ladies, what we were trying to do is to meet our neighbors, know our neighbors, you know, shoo the porch pirates. If I see them on my neighbor's porch, hey, put their package down. You know, different things like that. So our focus is truly community. We do want to focus on the community issues within Carondelet. We also want to host like maybe a monthly mixer or social gathering so that people can get to know each other. People can volunteer for different things if they like that interest them, that we need help with. We also have stickies back there on the wall. If you have any ideas or sticky pads, they're on the table. Stick your sticky on the wall for me. We're going to be compiling those questions, suggestions, and things so that we can start to break out into groups and, you know, get volunteers who wants to handle or tackle this particular thing, so that we can, you know, beautify our neighborhoods. We can try and have a safe working network of what's going on in our neighborhoods. You know, we want to know what belongs. We're not trying to like police people. We just work hard for our things and would like to keep them nice, if that makes sense. And I am the acting scribe, secretary, I don't know the PC term for it now, for the Neighborhood Association. So welcome, I'm super excited.
Do you guys have any questions?
Is neighborhood spelled correctly for people that
Probably
are
not.
copying that down?
It's never spelled. No. I got, so don't.
Oh, it's the German spelling.
We could say that.
Well, I'll make a note on N-E-I-G-H.
I left out the G.
Probably notice that we're saying like we're the acting title, and one of the things that we've decided is, and notice like obviously we weren't
Hopefully
elected
that's
by. Okay, perfect.
I have dyslexia.
That's all good. Yep.
We knew what you meant. We all knew what you meant.
Right.
Just write hood, like it's
In
easier
the
to
hood.
spell.
And my handwriting's terrible too, on top of it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Does everybody know Shane Cone? He's one of our aldermen. Shane. Mhm.
Hi, Shane.
Do you want to introduce yourself, say a little hi, and then, do you want to go first, Officer Wells?
Yes, sure.
And this is Officer Wells from our fine police department.
So my name is Officer Wells. I've been on the police department for 16 years. I'm not the Carondelet Neighborhood Liaison Officer. I am Boulevard Heights and Bebo. However, I had Carondelet in the past a couple of years ago. The liaison officer could not make it tonight, so he'll be at the next one, pretty sure. And the captain is sick with the flu, so he would have came, but unfortunately could not make it. So I wrote the email to my sergeant, Brad Ellis. It's BLELLIS@slmpd.org. So if you have any problems right now, email him. And when I'm talking about problems like derelict vehicles, vehicles with flat tires, or it's been parked there for weeks, you know, or you have a vacant house, or so that would probably go to the problem property officer, but he'll be the one to contact, and he'll send it to the right person, officer. Trying to think. So right now we have the Sky Cop at South Broadway and Belle Reve. It helps sometimes, and sometimes it goes offline. Sometimes it stays online, and we can get video of what's going on. If there's a crime committed, it's recorded 24/7. So if you see that around, that's a good thing, I guess. It tries to deter the crime.
Do you move that around?
We do. We're actually going to move it here, same place, or up the street. So it's going to be on the next block on Pennsylvania.
Is that the blinky and light thing?
The trailer looking thing? Yes.
It's like a, I don't know, weird motorcycle
Yeah.
ride on thing.
Yeah, kind of. So if you want to request that, he'd be the one that you send an email in and tell him what's going on, and we'll move it for you. And do I have any questions?
So that usually goes to the neighborhoods where there's the most things.
Correct.
going on.
If there's something going on or something like, say like a crime, like a spree of burglaries committed, we'll put that there to try to deter it or,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's linked to the downtown real-time crime center. So there's people monitoring it, but there's all kinds of them. So they're just not watching that one, but we can pull it up
Yeah.
to see if
They're usually
something.
brought by citizen request. So if there's been an incident that's been on that block or a series of incidents on that block, it can be anything from porch pirates to, car break-ins to a nuisance property, drug dealing, et cetera. So the police have limited resources at their disposal, but that's one of the items that they can use to, somewhat deter crime. Another kind of, I don't know if you guys are still doing this, but the kind of ghost cars that they would, park out front of, on a block somewhere. Do you guys still do that? I don't.
It's very rare. We
I don't
have
see them
one.
very much anymore.
It's kind of like old and
Yeah.
we got cameras now, so.
Great.
But I mean,
Would all of those notifications go to that email address to report, or how?
no,
Does it
so
go instead to something else?
the email,
Yeah, the report, that kind of activity for,
so if you want to request the Sky Cop, you want to send an email to him.
okay,
So he's in charge, he's the captain's aide for the first district, which we're all in first district. And we only have 3 Sky Cops for the first, but we try to move them around once a week, so.
And can I just interject real quick? So Officer Wells is talking about like illegal activity that's taking place. There's nuisance activity that could possibly be taking place on your block. You want to engage with the NIS. Show of hands, who knows who the NIS is for the Carondelet Neighborhood?
Cherie.
So Cherie Taylor is the NIS for Carondelet. The NIS, for those of you that might not be familiar, is the new NSO. And I'm gonna just put her.
And we are working on a resource page that'll have,
So Cherie works with us and all other people, but she's more of like, say you do have a street or like a dumping problem or something needs to be taken care of with the dumpster, you reach out to her. Or you can put both of them in emails. You'll get one of them right. So,
I've got a question.
Yes.
When is it more appropriate to contact, say, one of these people by email, or when is it better to report it through CSB?
I don't think, now, the difference between, like, if there's a crime, of course, you can call 911. I don't think there is a difference. I would do both. I know it's
Cherie
kind of
always
repetitive.
recommends
Yeah.
that you file a.
Do both.
Yeah. So I would say, whenever you're, dealing with any issue, if it's illegal activity, something that's concerning, please call 911 or the non-emergency number, which is 231-1212. If it's a city service issue, so your
can you
trash
write
is.
that up there too, please? I'm sorry.
I will be happy to work with you guys on a resource.
Yes. Yes. Jessica's working,
so,
she just got called out.
There's, for those of you that don't know, there's a non-emergency number for the police department. It's 314-231-1212. It goes to the same place as 911 calls. It just doesn't get prioritized as highly. So if you have something that's more of a nuisance activity that, you just need to call and report to document or what have you, then you can call the non-emergency number. Obviously, if someone's shot, all these other kind of like more emergency issues, please call 911. If it's a city service related issue, you really don't need to be calling the police about that. So, Cherie and the Citizen Service Bureau would be your contact. The CSB or Citizen Service Bureau is online. They do Twitter, they do the internet like you wouldn't believe. It's great. But they also have a phone number, which I'll write up here, which is 314-622-4800. I need to talk and write at the same time, which is very difficult for me.
And when you do it online, you can upload pictures,
I would say,
which is pretty.
anecdotally, Twitter is a great way to get their attention.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would.
I feel like Twitter, they really respond fast.
Yeah. So I would say, and I can't recall their
Oh,
Twitter
I'm sorry,
handle.
X.
Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Email address.
so the Citizen Service Bureau is really where you would direct any of your kind of primary issues with city services. If you don't get a response or the response you receive is not satisfactory, then you would escalate that to Cherie, and Cherie will follow up with the various city departments, possibly even engage our, the alderpersons on that. And so that's things like, your trash isn't being picked up, there's building code violations on a building on your block, trees need to be trimmed on your street, anything dealing with parks or things of that nature would go through the Citizen Service Bureau if it's a city service.
So what is Sherry's title? Like-
She's a neighborhood improvement specialist or an NIS. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're.
And Cherie responds pretty good.
She does.
So if anyone doesn't know her, I'll try to get her to the next meeting. She's very good at responding and
She'll
directing
be
you
able
to the
to,
right
we just didn't
person.
really invite people for this one to speak, because it was our kickoff.
I'm going to say two more things before I leave.
Yeah, please do.
I just want to say thank you for coming out. This is actually a good turnout for the first one.
It is.
It takes a while to build up. And the second one, so I'm kind of like a community engagement officer too. We just did coffee with the cop at McDonald's. I'm not sure if you've seen like on the Facebook. I didn't do it on Facebook, but we put it on.
We just put it up.
We put on a few of them. And so anyways, we're going to try to do it at the Speakeasy because I just met Ann there and love the place.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah.
So we're going to do coffee with the cop, so you guys can come. I don't know a day.
If you'll let me know.
I will,
Yes, I'll
yeah.
post it.
And we try to do, so I work directly for the captain, and we try to do community events once a month. So if you guys have any ideas, Friday we're playing kickball with St. Mary's. I think we're going to go to the school, I'm trying to think which one, Gateway Science, sit down with kids, have lunch with them. We just want to interact with like the younger kids and adults too, like, so they're not afraid of us. So if you guys have anything, recommend anything, if you guys want to do like a block party, we'll come out, bring the police car and bring other things,
Yeah, they have-
Sometimes they even have polar cops,
Yeah,
which is an ice cream truck that
Yep.
comes to block parties.
Free.
Our fire station has a vintage fire truck that they bring out sometimes. They did our block party and the kids.
I think we're planning on doing another small kind of like block party in addition to the bigger ones this year for National Night Out.
Right.
So,
Okay, yeah.
I'm assuming it will be in the same location,
Yeah,
but
because it
we'll
gives us a
figure it
park
out.
area and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Next month, the liaison officer will be here, so we'll get you one.
But we may not have formal meetings every month. We may do 6 a year, and then the others will be more of our gathering, having fun. Because I hosted happy hours down at Wind Down a few times, kind of during the COVID thing, so we were outside. And one thing I noticed was that a lot of people came to those happy hours that I've never seen in a meeting. So I'm thinking if we try to find things that lots of people like, we can maybe get people more involved by mixing it up somewhere.
Yeah, once a month, other people like not come and like you just, it's very hard to come once a month, so I think it's nice. Six a year would be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you,
Shane, I don't mean to put you on the spot, because we haven't specifically scheduled a ward updates, but is there anything you would like to add?
So Carondelet is represented by 3 alderpersons, myself, Shane Cohn, I represent Ward 3. which I kind of affectionately refer to as North Carondelet. So it's really kind of like north of Holly Hills, north of the Carondelet Park, and then east of Broadway, or I'm sorry, west of Broadway. And then Kara Spencer represents a kind of narrow sliver of Carondelet between Broadway and the riverfront, roughly. And then Ann really represents kind of 2/3 of the Carondelet neighborhood, which is kind of the old town Carondelet that most people kind of, naturally refer to it. So I did talk with Ann. She's out of town at the moment, so she wasn't able to join this evening. She really sent me a whole list of updates. I don't know if you guys want me to go into those, but happy to. I mean, do I have time?
We do have that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, okay. I am going to make this brief because most of this is in her newsletter, according to her. So,
Yeah, if
some of-
everybody does everyone get her newsletter?
so reach out to her. She'll be happy to have you to the newsletter.
It's very informative.
But a couple of updates. The Loughborough Commons, for those of you that might not know, is a community improvement district. It's essentially kind of like a condo association, but it's predominantly those are formed when properties are being developed, and they used to like do common areas. So the streets, the parking lot, signage, stuff like that. Even in Loughborough Commons, like the retaining wall, things of that nature would generally be paid for out of a community improvement district. They paid off the bonds from the development of Loughborough Commons. So Ann has been really instrumental in getting them to focus on what they need money for, and their board decided that they were going to rescind the 1% sales tax that they've been using to generate revenue for the community improvement district. So your groceries are going to get a little bit cheaper now, largely thanks to Ann, by 1%, and it adds up when you go there as frequently as I do. I was just there yesterday. So that applies to all of the shops that are in the Loughborough Commons area, so that also applies to Lowe's too, which I feel like I'm there every weekend right now with the spring weather. It's gorgeous. Hopefully everyone's planting flowers right now.
Is that the city's 1%, or that they were doing it?
This is levied on top of, it's additional
I've been here since
assessment.
2007 and I never knew that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God.
So community improvement districts exist all across the city, but most of them are predominantly located in the central corridor. So basically from downtown to the Central West End, the Grove, they all have community improvement districts. Some of them are used for general purpose funds for maintenance, like downtown. Theirs is used for cleaning up, for security, things of that nature. Others are used for like physical infrastructure, which is what the Carondelet community or the Loughborough Commons Community Improvement District is doing. Wow, a lot about Carondelet Park. There's a meeting this coming Thursday, or May the 2nd. Is that this Thursday or next Thursday?
Another week.
Okay, another week. It's the Friends of Carondelet Park, so be there. I'm not going to read everything else that is in there. And then there's Join Trash for Trees, a volunteer crew at Carondelet Lions Park this Saturday, April 27th. There's tree plantings taking place, so if you want more info about that, I'd encourage you to reach out to Ann. For my part in the Carondelet area, actually Ann and I just had a town hall. I know some of you were there, so I don't want to like repeat myself too much, but we have a couple different projects that are in the works that are pretty big. One is the kind of re-envisioning Grand from Hull Street up north all the way down to Holly Hills, so the entry into the park. This was being funded through our ARPA money, so the federal money that came in is going to pay for some infrastructure enhancements along that stretch of South Grand. We are in segment 6 and part of 5. So I represent just north of Chippewa all the way down to on the west side, or I'm sorry, on the east side, the stretch down to Holly Hills, and has the west side of the park, or west side of Grand from basically Walsh down to Holly Hills. So we are going to be going through a community engagement process. The consultants that are working on this will be wanting to meet with folks in May. So we'll make sure to get the information out to you all. Things that they're looking at are, curb bump outs, medians, crosswalk striping, where can we do mid-crosswalk, build outs. So right now, or mid-block crosswalks essentially. So they're looking at like crash data, and a lot of that information is going to be available so that we can make decisions around the data that's out there to make Grand a little bit more safer for both pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. So stay tuned for that. We also have the improvements for the Louisiana Calm Street. So those of you that might not be familiar, the Louisiana Calm Street is a kind of 3-phase project that the city has been undertaking. Phase 1 just got completed, which is Merrimack North to Gravois. And if you've driven down that way or hopefully ridden your bike that way, there's been some really major improvements around there to make it more pedestrian and cyclist friendly. Lots of curb bump outs. We've been collecting the feedback from people with respect to their thoughts, feedbacks, concern, and are planning to incorporate that into phase 2. Phase 2 will be through the Carondelet neighborhood. So it's Merrimack South down to Carondelet. And the overall vision for the Louisiana Calm Street is to eventually connect Carondelet Park with Tower Grove Park. And then all of the different business districts along the way. So, and different, kind of institutional resources as well. So Roosevelt High School, Merrimack, Chippewa, Cherokee, the International Institute, and various neighborhood parks along the way. We've got Marquette Park along Louisiana, which also has a recreation center. If you all aren't familiar with the Marquette Recreation Center, it has one of the only free city pools. It's a wonderful resource, especially for families and kids during the summer. The Dutchtown neighborhood hosts movie nights in Marquette Park throughout the summer as well. So we're all one big family down here, trying to help each other out and lift each other up. So I'd encourage you to check out DutchtownSTL.org because it's right up the street from most of us. So. But phase 2 of the Louisiana Calm Street, we've already secured the federal dollars for it. It's going to be about $5 to $6 million to redo that stretch of Virginia south down to Holly Hills, connecting it to the park. There'll be some community engagement activities around that this summer as well. Otherwise, happy to take any questions that you all might have.
What is a calm street? Is that just traffic?
Yeah, so it's various mix of traffic calming improvements. So the stretch in between Gravois and Merrimack, some people might be familiar with the traffic circles that were installed at Merrimack, Chippewa, and Cherokee. I've gotten a lot of emails about them. Other things include curb bump outs, so particularly around assets like schools and parks, trying to make sure that pedestrians have safe access to cross streets. And then there's other features like speed humps, chicanes. One of the learning lessons that we had from phase 1, we got a pretty large grant from MSD to do rain gardens. And at the time that the plans were being made, neighborhood associations and groups signed MOUs, memorandums of understanding, saying that they would maintain those. They haven't, and so they've gotten a little overgrown. So the money that was used for the rain gardens didn't really cover the cost of doing them anyway, and now we're having maintenance issues, so we're probably not going to implement those in phase 2. So learning lessons like that will be incorporated into phase 2, but for the most part, it's using various kind of traffic calming measures to slow people down, create a safer space for folks, and hopefully connect our communities with one another.
So that's a pretty heavily populated area. Have you had any trouble with parking?
Yeah, well, only on one stretch where they did a huge chicane at a kind of mid-block intersection.
Can you describe what a chicane is?
Oh, so a chicane is, I think this flips around. Look at me. So let's say this is Louisiana. I'm just going to use, this is Merrimack, Louisiana. And then this is Clocky. And Marquette Park is up here. That's not an exact, because it's actually Gasconade and then Marquette Park. But, so here at Merrimack, we did like a little traffic circle, so people are supposed to go around they do half the time. And then, you have sometimes curb bump outs that happen here as well. What a chicane is, it's essentially a large curb bump out that removes parking. And so people are not allowed, because there's a physical barrier there for them to park, but it narrows the street to the point where there's only 2 points of entry into that intersection. And it's a very large physical barrier for people, impediment rather, that they would have to like slow down to avoid, right? And so they actually did one here at Clocky where they did like basically the whole block. And so all these people over here have no parking, and all of these people over here still park here even though they're not supposed to. So essentially creating I'm fine with it because it slows people down, but obviously when parking becomes an issue, people in South City, it's a premium and they don't like that. So lessons, takeaways for phase 2, less of these, more of this type of stuff down here, and where we can, like chicanes can make sense when they're maybe a little smaller than what we did here, and also do them around things like fire hydrants. People aren't supposed to be parking in front of fire hydrants anyway. So those are the types of things that we're having community discussions about and discussions with engineers. Great question.
Any other questions for?
I have a question, and I know it's probably an Ann question, but like the motorcycle on Broadway.
Oh, wow. Yeah, every town hall Ann and I have together that comes up.
That's because this weekend was another
Right, it's the century.
extravaganza.
Yeah, it's amazing how those right of the centuries happen like every few weeks. So whenever those happen, they're supposed to be permitted events. They're not permitted events, largely speaking. So please call the police when those do happen. The police obviously have a lot of other things that they're dealing with, so they'll have to deal with them in a more coordinated approach, hopefully in the future. But if you all have any information that ties it back to specific businesses that are hosting the events, that's where we can start to have some more serious conversations as well with departments like the zoning department, Board of Adjustments, and others to basically kind of bring those resources to bear and kind of back to us that are hosting those events. Yeah, but we need like evidence. Yeah.
Mine is kind of a change of subject from traffic, but I believe in most of the pavilions in the park, the trash cans and the picnic benches were taken away. I think unhoused people were using them in the evening. What can we do to get them back? Like trash cans in the park, I feel like are really important. Picnic tables make it more hospitable.
You wouldn't know this by looking at me, but I used to run quite a bit. I've gained probably 100 pounds since COVID, but I know. So I'm trying to get back into the groove. I'll probably spend a lot more time in Carondelet Park. All of Carondelet Park is in Ann's ward, so she's probably a little bit more up to date with respect to why they would have been removed and when they may be replaced. And so sometimes that is the case where an older person is working with the Parks Department on updating equipment. They'll take it out. They don't really communicate with us about these types of things, and then they'll put them back in, a year, 2 years later, whenever they find the time to do it. I'm actually kind of going through that right now with Mount Pleasant Park. I asked them to give me, kind of an update in terms of the tree situation, the water fountain situation, the playground equipment, the roller rink that's in there, and all of that. They completely went to a different park and did all of the work that they were supposed to do in Mount Pleasant Park. So it's a little frustrating sometimes, but Ann would probably have the best update for you on that. We do our best. I can't micromanage every single situation in city government, unfortunately. But I think that that's a wonderful suggestion, and I think it's something that Ann would certainly take under advisement. I know for Carondelet, there's that Friends of Carondelet organization. So if you're not involved with them, maybe send them an email, asking for advocacy on that issue as well.
I think they're getting ready to do the board members too.
Yeah. And that's the event that's coming up on May 2nd as well. Yeah.
So which ward are you in charge of?
Yeah, so Ann is the first ward, I'm the 3rd ward, and Kara Spencer is Ward 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sir.
great. Thank you.
Also, yeah, if anyone is unsure about their ward or specific neighborhood, the iPad that's set up on the table over here, you can just put in your address and it'll give you all of that information.
For the board members, I did take a picture of the map that you guys kind of like doodle on. I'm going to send that to the planning commission, and they can do it like a kind of
Excellent,
like
because
3x8
yeah,
map.
because the Carondelet,
Yeah.
or the
Oh,
Ward
yeah.
1, the ward maps that they have online,
Right.
have all the old ones too. I'm like,
Yeah.
like drawn in, I'm like, that's just.
So it'll be a large
They can
poster
do one
size
that's
that you can
just
like,
a neighborhood.
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
and it'll just be the neighborhood itself and then split up by wards.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Other issues, questions,
Oh, yeah.
ideas? I also just want to extend my, thanks and appreciation to you all for organizing this. It makes my life a little bit easier, having groups of neighbors coming together versus 20,000 people emailing me about the same issue all at once. So I really do appreciate you all and your efforts to kind of organize this section of Carondelet. Thank you.
I have a couple more things that are coming. I don't do much social media, but I did post this meeting on Nextdoor. I will be posting all of the CNA things on Nextdoor. I'm also working on a resource page that'll be posted on the Neighborhood Association website. They'll post it on Facebook, the Facebook site. I'll post it on Nextdoor. So twofold with the resources, we'll have like a governmental resource list with all of like the neighborhood people and everything. And then we will also have like a resource list that is a combination of, I've been working with Catholic Charities, the Urban League, the St. Patrick's Center. So if you, say for example, don't know where to get food, or a food pantry, a fresh produce drive, all of those resources will be on there. And if I can figure out how to put it in a PDF so that you can print it, I will try. I will solicit some help. Or you can always screenshot it. But we want to kind of have like different resources. We know, it's an uncomfortable time. Things are, life is life, and let me just say that. So we want to have as many resources as we can, like near and dear, if you don't know how to do this or this, and then just different things that are going on in the neighborhood as well. If you guys know of something, please send us an email to the website so we can get it added to our resource list or get the event added. If you'd like to see the support of the community at your event or for the resources, I know we partnered with the health center over there next to Dollar General for their opening, and we may possibly be doing some more things with them. And then I was a part of the food patch. I didn't know Carondelet had a food, is it called a food patch? Let me not say that.
That's right.
Okay, so the food patch, so I'm loving gardening right now, so helping out with that. There were so many things in our own neighborhood that I didn't even know existed until, we got together for some events that had nothing to do with that, but morphed into this meeting right here. So again, I encourage you, he is so cute. I encourage you to put stickies on the wall back there if you have suggestions, anything you want to see, people you want us to try and reach out and connect to. Tell your friends if they live in the neighborhood, tell your family. We are just really trying to get the word out, and we really want it to just be an inviting place for community. We may not always be on the same side, we may not always agree, but we all live here. And so that was the beauty of how Kyla, Ivy, and I connected, and we're hoping that we can bring that to everyone, to make our home what we want it to be.
You said to reach out on the website. What website is that?
We don't have it set up yet.
We don't have a website yet, but the email address.
But if somebody would like to be on the
I just want to make
website
sure that's
committee,
clear.
Oh, yeah, I'm
People should
sorry.
reach out.
somebody would like to be on the website committee and set that up, that would be
There are lots of
You wanna do
works
it?
in progress.
She's our girl.
Wow.
What's your name?
Kim.
Kim,
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a couple of like very specific asks that we have are like, we would love to get a logo made.
a logo would be
And that is not something that's in our wheelhouse, so if anybody is interested in joining or starting like a media committee that can help support with website and logo design and things like that, please talk to me afterwards.
we are gonna, Jared has kindly offered to video, so
Yes.
we're gonna try to have all of our meetings
Yeah, thank
uploaded.
you, Jared. Yeah.
So that we realize that a lot of people in the neighborhood aren't going to be able to attend, but we still want to be accessible to everybody. So,
And I would say,
Let people know.
yeah, speaking of accessibility, if you have other notes or things that would make it easier for you to come and attend in person, if you'd like to, please let us know. So email us. So
yeah, we can pick you up.
And just real quick, because you mentioned Novus next to the Dollar General store, they have actually opened up a food bank in there. So I don't know if it's the community or, other people that could benefit from that. It's open to the whole community.
I will add that to the resume.
Yeah, and you could, actually, anyone could go take a tour of that place. It's top
It
notch.
is
I've done
cool.
it.
Yeah.
They're really working with the neighborhood, and it is a hidden gem. Like, you
Yes.
just show up. You don't have to become a patient. They kind of want you to be a patient, though, currently, for like the food bank and the services. But they're working on an office for a dentist. Like, I think it's like 6 chairs, a break room, a community for health. I mean, it's a cool place to check out, and it's in our own backyard.
Yes.
Nova's Health.
Do we need to get, is there any kind of bank account, or do we have any kind of ways of getting money set up? Because I had
That
thought
is-
about the logo, we actually have a symbol for Carondelet.
That is a really
also.
good question, yeah, and I will shout out too, so, obviously for folks who've been in the neighborhood a while, you know that there's been other neighborhood associations, and we were actually really lucky to be able to kind of piggyback off of Jesse Irwin had started a neighborhood association, and it had operated more or less like a block group, and so, he's got other things in business that he's got to prioritize, but he let us piggyback off of that existing structure. And so we do have a small bank account. So we've got a little bit of money that we could, once we get a logo, we could have some signs printed so that we can do a better job of advertising. But I would just add along with the money thing for membership. For the first year, we've decided we're not going to do any kind of membership dues. If you are a resident of Carondelet and you want to sign up with your email, you're a member.
As far as logos, we have a logo for Carondelet, there's an old
Well, we
crest.
have a Carondelet logo. I
Yeah.
don't know
Sign up to be on the
No.
media
Okay.
committee.
I was saying that we have a cool logo of the lady,
But who owns the logo?
So
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't want any copyright
Right.
issues or anything
well,
like
it's a
that.
defunct city, it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that's why we can start a little subgroup and figure that out.
Right, so,
Yeah.
well, we can look into that, because that would be a
Well,
good.
what's cool is if, how Holly Hills, they like their flags, their green flags in Holly Hills.
Yes.
It institutes neighborhood pride. You see people that are actually in vivo that have Holly Hills flags flying. I think we have a cool symbol.
We do have a
And
very.
I think if we ever needed to
I
raise,
like that idea.
if we needed to raise money, we could always, maybe, and to get neighborhood pride, we could get some flags manufactured if we had enough interest in it.
Sure, yeah.
And we could start flying our own little flags like Holly Hills does.
I'm putting your name down with that media.
Yep.
I think it'd be kind of
We
neat.
have any time right now.
I was just curious, who's running your
Oh,
socials?
Right now, we
Right
are
now,
kind
we
of
are-
tag teaming it.
We are.
Yeah.
We're
So-
looking for somebody though to sort of head up a committee.
I'll talk to you.
You want to do it?
I'll talk to you.
Oh, because those things are really helpful.
Yeah, I completely agree with the vision of more of like a community event space or community gathering and getting to know your neighbors rather than being like overly ambitious and political, but are there any existing rules or bylaws around how often we should elect a board of directors and the process by which we want to do those kinds
Yes,
of things?
yes, thank you for asking. Yeah, so thanks to that existing organization, we do have a set of bylaws, and that's one of the reasons that we're using acting president, acting vice president, because we didn't go through that bylaw process because there was no
And there's a lot of those
association.
things we're changing too from the old bylaws, because they have like just private meetings. We're not really interested in just the 3 of us meeting privately to,
Right.
we want it to be, like, there's a lot of things we haven't changed yet.
Sure.
Yeah. the good question.
So, yeah, so if anybody is interested, and what we'll probably do is, in about like 1 year from now, we'll hold elections, and then at that point, likely ask for membership dues, once we have an idea what kind of projects we want to be pursuing as a community.
Yeah. Oh, sure, yeah.
Did you want to talk
Did you
about
wanna-
you guys group or membership or anything?
Sure.
Yeah, may not be familiar with the Episcopal Church right here.
So I'm Darian Rick, for the people that don't know me, I'm the executive director at St. Paul's Episcopal, which is like a few buildings down. And so we also have a neighborhood meeting. It's not necessarily specifically Carondelet, but we do it every other month, and I think we agreed to kind of piggyback. So ours is in May, and I guess the next one for this one will be in June. So we have a cleanup, but we're just kind of trying to organize people, not necessarily just from Carondelet, because we also have members from Dutchtown and surrounding areas. So feel free to come to those meetings. The next one will be May 15th. And yeah, just plug in. And if you ever need any information, you can email me at office@Carondelet Church, and I can write that up here as well.
It's great
Because
for
we're always
your-
looking for things that are going on in the neighborhood, and let us know.
And they have the coolest clean air
Yes.
project going on
Environmental
right
stuff they're doing
now.
is great.
And like they check the air, like I learned so much about at the air quality meeting, like about the sticky stuff that comes over the from East Carondelet or is that Sajay?
Yeah.
Sajay, East Carondelet, but somewhere across the thing. But it was really cool. I definitely say get involved with that. I learned a whole bunch of different concepts and like how to accurately check the clean air. And if that's your jam, they have so many opportunities to get involved. So thank you.
Cool. All right, yes, Skip.
I signed up to be a neighborhood leader with Brightside STL. So I'm organizing a little blitz cleanup at the Virginia and 55 entrance to the neighborhood
Oh, excellent, okay, yeah.
the morning of May 4th, like at 9:30 to 11. I put an announcement on Facebook and Nextdoor, but we're just gonna like clean up those planters and pick up trash there, maybe weed eat or something. So anyone's welcome.
What time?
9:30 to 11. May
Do
4th.
you have a flyer I can help pass out to people, or I'll just post it myself?
I don't have a flyer.
Okay, I'll just put it out.
I don't want like 50 people.
So are we gonna pick up trash and flowers? Or
Yeah, so
what do
through Brightside, I'm getting some tools, but bring your own stuff. We're gonna just dig up those planters that are there that look pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah.
May 4th at,
And then, what's that?
May 4th, you said?
May 4th.
At 9:30.
9:30, and then they're giving us some seedlings, so
Okay, that's
I'd like to swap out that dirt though, if anyone wants to donate some potting soil or anything. Yeah,
That's excellent, because it's
pretty ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, I saw your post.
And I may have some potting soil once I get my veggies in the garden.
If you send me an email, I can have this thing drop off, so.
Okay.
Oh, excellent.
That's great.
What did you just say, dirt?
I think
We're
we're good. We're gonna wrap up a little bit early. I wanna thank everybody for taking the time out of your schedule to be here today. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be
it's fantastic
in
to
touch.
see everybody's faces.
If you want to talk to us all, or any of us individually about anything that you have going on, or want to see us do it, we'll be here until 7:30, but then we have to scoot, so, because the library closes soon. But definitely let us know. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate it.
I did want to ask, does anybody have an idea for where you'd like to meet socially next month?
Yeah, next month will be a purely
Anybody-
social
Yeah.
meetup.
Anybody have an idea where you'd like to go, what you'd like to do?
Your place diner on the north end. of
Oh, that's a
Carondelet.
great idea. You want to do that?
What
Have
is
you
it?
all been to
Your place diner. Okay.
Your
The old
place,
Iron
it's
Barley.
right there at Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah, right there at Virginia and Bates. just a
5520
little bit.
Virginia.
That's it, sorry.
Yeah, that's good,
They have a great little patio, awesome soul food.
because then you have flexibility, you could do it in the evening or an
Absolutely.
afternoon or a
Yeah.
weekend or.
So everybody hop onto the Facebook page or the next door, because then we'll post like what.
And we'll also, we'll send out an email too.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
signed up,
got your
please-
email
Please sign
now.
in if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
No, they do like,
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
get a beer sign. Definitely.